Day 2 of the Manifest with Tantra Challenge, I'm going to be sharing about your emotions and how to notice if you're having emotional blocks. A lot of times when we're having emotional blocks, it's really similar to having chakra blocks because emotions are just energy and motion, and our chakras are our energy centers. One great reference book that I have, it's not something you would just want to have read out loud to you. It's more of a reference book, but it's a really amazing guide written by a chiropractor called The Secret Language of Your Body. And based on where you might be having some discomfort inside your body, or you're having a symptom or any aches or pains, that your body is trying to communicate with you and let you know that something is wrong. Whenever I do sessions with clients, if they're having some pain or some tension, I'll go in and it can even talk about who in your family this could be related to. It's really so interesting. And she understands like the energetics of the body. A lot of chiropractors are a little more tapped in because they have a really deep understanding of the human body. That's such a great resource and a reference guide. Whenever we're blocked or we're not wanting to feel our emotions, it's blocking other things in our lives. We can only meet another person's emotions as deeply as we've met our own. For me, I know because I had, a traumatic childhood, sadness was a challenging emotion for me. And it wasn't until I was an adult that a lover of mine said, "Why does it seem like sometimes you laugh when you really want to cry?" I hadn't even noticed that about myself. I was like, whoa, that's deep. I hadn't noticed that I had that pattern of doing that. They say a lot of times when people have a really funny sense of humor, and I do have a really wicked sense of humor that comes from trauma. Oh, that's my trauma. And so sadness was really challenging. Think about whenever you're a child, and a lot of people would aspire and be like, "Oh, if I could be like a famous actress." I can vividly remember watching people in movies and seeing them cry while they're acting, and that would blow my mind. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, how are they able to cry like that?" Oh my gosh, that would just be such a big fear for me. I was like, I just could not ever act. That would never be anything I want to do because I'm not going to just cry on demand. I don't even want to cry when I need to cry, much less to be pretend crying. So I didn't even realize how deep ingrained this was. I went through my trauma informed master coach certification. And the reason one of my coaches encouraged me to do the program is that very thing. You're only going to be able to meet your client's emotions as deeply as you met your own. And you need to go through the curriculum in this program so that you can be a safe space when you guide your clients. Not to say we're going to be perfect. We're humans having a human experience, but that way, when they're sharing something that will be really deep or painful, I can have empathy. And maybe if I haven't had a similar experience or it reminds me of something traumatic I've experienced, I won't get triggered or activated. I can fully be present and really be a resource for them. And so it was really interesting. And I noticed how much I held back sadness. So I cried a lot in those first few months of that program. I just let the tears flow because tears are deeply healing and cleansing. And they also release the stress hormone cortisol. There's actually been recent scientific studies showing that tears contain a lot of times some of the chemicals or properties of things that would actually be healing to us. So that's why our tears are almost designed where they can drop into our mouths. So if we have an ailment or something going on, there's some kind of chemical makeup within the way our tears are made to actually help support where our body needs support in, which is really super mind blowing. Now, another thing when I was sharing earlier about being aware of the words that we're saying and the words that we use, Dr. Emoto did this study, and I have his book called The Hidden Meaning of Water. I talk about this a lot in my self love ebook that I wrote. I want you to remember again, we're made of 70% water. So, since we're made of 70% of water, it's really important for us to realize this. What he did was he would get water and he would, from the same source, and he would speak negative words to it, just negativity, and then put it and freeze it, and then gets little cross sections, cut it, and look under a microscope. And the water that had these negative words spoken into it, that water was all cloudy and distorted and didn't look so great. Then he had water that he would speak loving words to it, positive words of affirmation. whenever he would put the frozen images from that under a slide, it looked almost like a snowflake, like these beautiful geometric designs. So you really got to think about one, what we're taking in, especially with manifesting. Are we always listening to things that like music that is always talking about like bitches and hoes and shooting people up? Right? We've got to think about what are we consuming? And it's even going into our subconscious mind and hearing these words when our body is made of 70% water is so important for our health, for our vitality, even our subconscious thoughts. And that's why self love is so key. So we can start to repattern and say positive things to ourselves and be loving to ourselves instead of being our own worst critic. That way, we're more empowered. And all of this goes into how we're manifesting things. So there's certain things like before Tantra and before I was aware of this, I would watch really scary movies. One movie I watched several times was Requiem for a Dream. I can't even watch that now, but I actually owned a copy. I remember having my friends watch it one time. They're like, "Why are you having us watch this movie? It's super depressing." But I just wasn't aware of it. But whenever you've grown up in a really stressful environment with a lot of trauma, that just is like your normal. It doesn't phase you the same way. But when you start to make different choices for yourself and you cultivate and create things that are more in alignment for what you're wanting to experience and being at a higher vibration, thinking more with positive affirmations and not to be toxic positivity. That's what I did. They should talk about swinging the pendulum. When we correct something, we can swing the pendulum too far the other way to overcorrect. So when I stopped going through using negative words and the way I would speak or just gossiping and talking negative all the time, when I corrected that, I initially overcorrected and I was like a little too on the positive, which is not realistic. And my daughters that were young adults then, they were like, "Mom, what are you doing? This is too much for us." Such an extreme shift. But it's important that we allow ourselves or not make emotions bad or wrong, but be curious about that and think about, okay, I'm feeling this. Can I sit here and be with this emotion for a while? And what is this emotion trying to tell me? What is the message here? Be curious about it instead of being judgmental. Now, one thing that I have shared before in other spaces is that we get so used to in our environment, in our world of gossiping, even in social media and other things, you'll see who wore this better. It's always like we're criticizing people. And there is a quote, comparison is the thief of joy. So we get though into this whole victim consciousness and it's on our TV. It's like everywhere we turn and look. And when we're getting into that mindset, we're literally lowering our vibration. And when I started understanding how I wanted to shift my energy with Tantra and the energetics of things, I had a girlfriend that we would commiserate because misery loves company. And so we were both travel nurses in LA and we would talk about what we were upset about or the people that we were dating, what we were upset about that he did this XYZ. Then one day I was like, all right, I'm going to spend 24 hours and not say anything negative. And that really helped me to realize how often I was going into negative thinking or complaining. Got to think complain equals drain. And energetically, when you hang out with people, are they a drain or a faucet? Sometimes our friends need some support, right? But if they're constantly always draining and never pour back into you, you need to pay attention to that. Pay attention to how you feel energetically, how your emotions feel when you spend time with someone. So I asked this friend, we're on the phone call, and I said, "Hey, could you try this thing? I tried it. Can you go 24 hours without complaining or saying anything negative?" That is the last phone conversation I've had with her. This was over 10 years ago. We're still Facebook friends. Occasionally, she'll send me a text message, like on a birthday or a holiday or something. But she was aware. She understood that I wasn't going to be available for that anymore. I guess she wasn't able to do it. And I just didn't want to engage in those types of conversations. Conversations where we're just talking about people or being negative or putting people down or putting ourselves down. How is that really serving us? Just trying to be aware of what it is that we're taking in. And I believe I mentioned this yesterday too, is notice too, a lot of people will watch really scary things or crime stories, crime shows on TV, murder mysteries and things like that. And they'll watch that before bedtime. If I'm going to watch a movie that's challenging, I recently saw something that was a little scary, but another part of the concept of the movie was important for me. Women's beauty standards, that movie with Demi Moore. I just looked away during the movie when things got really gory and graphic, and I just did my nervous system regulation and took nice, slow, deep breaths because other parts of the movie I really enjoyed and the message in there and I wanted to see it. But I'm just not going to sit there and watch that. And I knew when I watched that movie that I was going to watch it at around 11 in the afternoon because I don't want to watch something that's so scary right before I go to bed. On a side note, when I was a little girl, my older brother was like 10 years older than me. And we lived together for a little bit of time. We had different moms. We lived with our dad from the time I was like 4 to 6. And I remember my dad would get upset with him because he would let me watch scary movies. And then I would have the worst nightmares. And sometimes I would sleepwalk once I was running through the living room. So it's just what are we feeding our subconscious right before we're unwinding for the day? And people that are, how would you say it? If that is something that actually calms you and relaxes you at the end of the day, it's very likely you've experienced a lot of trauma because you've already been filtering out so much BS in your life and it just is almost doesn't phase you. You almost don't realize that you're swimming in it because it's been around you so much. And I love that someone in here asked a question. I love that. What do I watch before bed? Now I'm staying up later and doing things different because I'm doing this challenge, but usually what I do, one thing is I also have trained in functional genomics, looking at our DNA. And one thing I learned about my DNA is that my BDNF, my brain derived neurofactor, is and my circadian rhythm is a little bit off. And I've been a nurse for decades where I worked night shifts for so many decades. And a lot of doctors and nurses have higher incidences of cancers and things because of the night shift work and how it throws off our sleep cycles. So I try now that I get to create my own schedule, I watch how I'm doing things, especially because I learned with the DNA test that this easily gets thrown off. Like when the time changes, it can impact me more, things like that. So what I do is I try to wake up when the sun is up and I try to get my eyeballs outside with the first sun, first part of the day. Another thing for energy and stuff is to go and sit, and I might journal and sit and put my feet in the earth to be grounding or sit or touch a tree because that's really going to charge up your energy. I also sleep with a grounding sheet underneath my sheets. You want to get sun, and the earlier you get the sun in the day, that helps to stimulate your melatonin production so you sleep better. Then what I usually do, and I have bright lights on now because we're together in this space, but whenever the sun is going down, I'll have some really goofy clip-on light blockers, orange lenses that I'll put on, and I'll turn off all my lights in my house, and I have orange, amber lights or red lights. So I'm going how our ancestors would have been without electricity and trying to limit blue screens and things like that. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll listen to a meditation, or I even have a clip from my book. I'm trying to see if it's reachable. I have a book clip and it has like little orange lights on it. And I'll sit and read more in the evening or do something like that or do a meditation. One person that I love her meditations on YouTube is this person. She has 2 YouTube accounts. So go find the account that has hundreds of thousands of followers. She's called Rhea Earth. Love her. So I'll listen to a meditation or listen to something that's relaxing as I'm winding down for the evening or watching something if I have my clips on, a documentary or something interesting or a comedy, but nothing that's too heavy or too stressful at the end of the day. I'm just trying to keep in flow with my energy rhythm. That's really important. Halloween, I'll be 56. And I recently did a cellular age test. And this is before I started making the changes based on what I was tested with my DNA. My cellular age is 11 years younger than my chronological age because I do a lot of things to improve my health. Whenever I work with my clients as well, I'll talk with them about what's going on with their health because when we want to experience pleasure, our body is an instrument to experience pleasure. So we want to fine tune our bodies, and pleasure is medicine. So if you didn't make it for day one, definitely check that replay out. Try to do some reading or do something that's meditative and get my body to start to wind down and relax. Then I sleep much better. So trying to go to sleep early and staying asleep. Like I usually try to go to bed at 9:30 and wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Those are some of the things that I do when we're stressed out. We are releasing a lot of cortisol, the stress hormone, and that ages us a lot. Eating the sugar ages us a lot too. And drinking alcohol also ages because it's loaded with sugar. Doing certain things so that I can help with my health. I want to be sharing and impacting a lot of people's lives and have that energy to do the things that I'm really passionate about. A lot of times, though, when we are really uncomfortable with emotions, we'll keep those emotions inside and they stay trapped inside of us. And how often have we said the thing I know that I have is someone that is like, "Are you upset?" And you're like, "I'm fine. I'm fine." And fine is feelings inside not expressed. And so when we bottle those things up, that's what creates dis-ease in our bodies as well, because we're having these trapped emotions. One thing that I'll do is if I notice an emotion comes up for me, let's say if I'm giving a talk and something is upsetting to me, I'll talk to that emotion for a moment in my mind. I'll make a mental note and I'll say, okay, grief, sadness, anger, whatever I'm feeling, I see you. And tonight or this weekend, I'm going to spend some time with you. And I make that promise to myself. I have some really powerful emotional release writing practices and prompts where I can release those emotions. One of my teachers is Christine Hassler. She's one of my coaches. She has a degree in spiritual psychology, her master's degree in from Santa Monica, and she was on the board there. So I learned a ton from her. And she have all these great emotional release writing prompts that I can share because she taught them to me. But one of the things when you write this out and you want to journal, you want to write it on something that you can throw away and tear up. And you want to write it like a doctor's writing, like chicken scratch, because you don't need to read it again. We don't want to type those things out because when we type things out, one, we're putting the energy of that into our devices, that frustration. But when we're putting something with a keyboard, we're just making about 10 motor neuron connections with our brain. When we write it out pen to paper, over 10,000 motor neuron connections within our brain is happening. So whatever it is, or whatever you want to say to someone, you can say it. A lot of times we think when we break up or someone has hurt us from the past or childhood, we'll think, I need to talk to them and find out. I want them to know how much that hurt me. And I can't have closure until I talk to them. That's not true. You can't have closure without talking to them because a lot of times the people that can hurt or betray us, they don't have the bandwidth to take accountability or really be a safe space. It might do more harm than good to talk to them. What you can do is say the things that you would want to say to them and take it pen to paper. And then either safely tear it up afterwards and let it go. Or if you can do it in a safe burn and not start any fires, just let it go. Have that as being cathartic. Also, if you're in a relationship and something is really upsetting you and you don't want to get overheated when you're talking to your partner, first write down your frustrations. It's like we're discharging, we're taking that load off so that whenever we are having the conversation with that person, we won't be so ramped up. Because what happens is when our nervous system gets dysregulated, we go into Frankenstein brain and it's like danger. And then things escalate. What we want to do is be able to take nice, long, slow, deep belly breaths. When you breathe real deep in your belly and stretch it out, that stretches your nerve and your diaphragm and it slows down your nervous system. When you slow down your nervous system and you regulate it, then Einstein brain kicks in. That's our problem solving brain. That's why sometimes we get in arguments, things can escalate so much because we'll say and do things we don't even mean or say the wrong thing because we don't have our logical brain on board and we can be reactive. One thing that helped me a lot, I used to be really quick to anger before Tantra. I would be the nicest person, but then if you push me to that tipping point, watch out. Also, I'm a Scorpio, that stinger would come out. And then I heard these words once, and it really helped me so much was people's behavior is a reflection on them. My response to their behavior is a reflection on me. I can't control them. I can only be responsible for me. And my ability to respond is my responsibility. And that was a big game changer for me. Now I have more compassion. My daughters feel so safe around me because before they didn't know if I was going to fly off the handle or be mad or whatever. And now they know that when they're having challenges, they can come and talk to me, even if it's something that they're upset with me about, that I'm not going to sit there and lash out, that I can receive what they're saying and what they're sharing and not get triggered or activated by it. And then that's helped our relationship so much. Because people, we just want to be heard and to be understood, right? But we can always be pointing fingers and things can get really out of control. But using those emotional release writing practices are so powerful. It's really important that we let those emotions out. Someone in here shares, and I appreciate you sharing, that sometimes you cry on commercials, but in your own life, you are disconnected. You want to think about how we might be disconnected from our bodies. We might be disconnected from our pleasure. Like we're so numbed out towards what's going on within us. So that's a sign of a bigger challenge that we might be having. Just know that, not to have judgment on yourself, just an awareness. I want to show you something really cool from this book. Is anyone in here having any physical symptom of any aches or pains in your body? If you're open to dropping in the chat and letting me know, I can let you know what this book says. It will really blow your mind. Great, Wesley, go for it. What is it? Eczema. Eczema can also be like something is getting under your skin, something is rubbing you the wrong way. This is awesome. Not that I'm happy that you're having these challenges, but I'm happy to share with you so you can have a better understanding. Because what's happening is our body is really through pain, through discomfort, through emotions. Our body is trying to communicate with us and be like, hey, you need to pay attention to me. Something is going on. And we keep ignoring it. And then it snowballs and gets to be something bigger. So on eczema, I'll look at that one really quick. It could be not all of them. I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but some of these may apply or all of them may apply. Feeling unaccepted, needing to hide and suppress, feeling aggravated by your experiences with others, like people getting under your skin, erupting with anger when you don't get your way, holding your breath, and experiencing a sense of stagnation, like feeling like you're in a slump or stuck, and your energy can be stagnant too. One great thing that I recommend my clients to do, that I recommend to you and I do as well, is if you can go in nature and do a primal yell like Tarzan. It seems really silly, but it's so effective. And it is so supportive, like a pressure cooker. And things can just keep loading and loading and loading up. And all of a sudden, we have the straw that broke the camel's back. All of a sudden, we are in a rage. And it might be at a very inopportune time, or we're like, man, I can't believe that I acted this way at work. I wish I would have had more self-control. But if you don't make time with intention to be with your emotions and allow your emotions to be expressed, they can be pushed out because that pressure is building and come out when you're not planning it. Great things to do are going to an anger room or a smash room where you can go and literally break things. So cathartic. If you're home where you can scream into a pillow, that's great too. Just know you don't want to sleep on that pillow. You either want to shake it out outside and wash it and shake it and let it be in the sun, or use sage spray or Palo Santo safely to get that energy of the stress out. You especially don't want to go and sleep on that pillow right after, because you might not have the best dreams. The name of the book is The Secret Language of the Body by Ina Segal. I also have it on Kindle. It's not a book to get on Audible. So just going out and being able to be in nature. Someone else shared that they're having tension headaches. Well, like headaches. Headaches are stress, overwhelm, tiredness, seriousness, too much going on, feeling out of control, self-criticism, judgment, invalidation, self-sabotage, too much thinking and analysis, like analysis paralysis, we're all overthinking, overcrowded, frustrated, or feeling undermined. Those things can be what's happening whenever you have headaches. And then someone else shared about sciatica. Some of these are shorter, and then some of them go deeper, like they're a page long, and will even give you an energetic practice that you can do to clear that energy from your body. Sciatica is feeling stuck in the past, worried about your survival. Because again, if we talked about yesterday, at the bottom of the base of the spine is the red circle. Your root chakra is about survival and safety. Your root chakra is also connected to your legs and to your feet. Feeling stuck in the past, worried about survival. Again, that survival, feeling safe, money issues, unresolved childhood issues. Remember, I said that's also about our inner child. That chakra was formed early in childhood, and it has to do with mother-father wounds and our inner child. So unresolved childhood issues of not feeling good enough, rejecting yourself, imposing too many limitations on yourself, always finding excuses why you can't do something rather than focusing on how you can. Where in your life are you being hypocritical? Profound fear that if you're honest, you will be neither liked nor accepted, and that you will not be able to survive. Again, that's the survival chakra. Feeling burdened with too much responsibility, which stifles your creativity. And the creativity is the chakra right above, the orange one. So that chakra is stifling because it's clamping down. Think of a water hose with a kink in it and it's not flowing all the way to the other ones. So then it's stifling up to the next chakra where the creativity is. So you want to do things so that you are working with your emotions, because these things, how we're feeling and our emotions, if they're staying trapped, our body is trying to communicate with us. Hey, you need to pay attention to me. I need some TLC. But a lot of times we'll ignore it, or we'll just take a painkiller or numb out from it, or people will have a drink as a way to numb out or not to feel it or think about it. But we've got to feel it to heal it. So it's important for us to feel these emotions. If anyone that took the chakra quiz, if you'll drop in the comments, did you notice that you had a lot of blocks in your chakras? And does that relate to what I'm sharing with you today? I'd love to know where you are with that. Awesome. Are you open to sharing which of the chakras? So your solar plexus. Okay. Your blocks, solar plexus. That's a big one. And that's so common. Remember, I was sharing yesterday, we're usually on a hamster wheel, and people usually just operate from the bottom three chakras. And we have a block in our heart chakra, and our heart chakra connects our upper and lower chakras, and it also connects us with the world around us. But with the solar plexus, what is going on there and what is impacting that energy center that you're feeling blocked? So that's something definitely to dive deeper into. It's just if it's fully blocked. I do have an intro to Tantra. It's actually a complete comprehensive course, but that's when I named it. And then I just kept adding all these things to it. My business manager, she was looking at everything I created. She's, wow, this is really powerful. I went through everything, and I have a whole section on chakras and what things to do to open your chakras. So one of the things too is that breath of fire practice. I shared a video and the email yesterday. I linked to the breath of fire video. It's on my YouTube as well, so that you can do that, because that will help you to start to open up your chakras too. Now, also doing things like wearing the color that chakra is related to that's blocked. Wearing those colors is really great. Eating foods that are that color is really great. I know it sounds really silly and woo, but it's true. So that's how you can support those chakras. And whenever you're breathing or meditating, you can just put your hand there where it is and just imagine the color of that chakra being supported. And that when your hand is there on that part of your body, it's like giving yourself a little hug, and then nice deep breaths into those spaces. And just imagining and having the intention as you're doing your meditation for that particular chakra is a really beautiful practice. Do the chakra colors have to be the same? Can we reassign the colors? No, they need to be the same. There's reasons that they're the way they are is for thousands of years. If you're going to support it with the use of color, you want to use the color that is related to that. And that certain chakra is going to also affect different organ systems in that part of your body. But that's a good question. I like that you have creativity with it. Let me just change it up. So a lot of times things with chakras, you can see symbols, a rainbow. It is the rainbow of all the colors being fully expressed. And that whenever all of our chakras are in flow, there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's where we're really able to be creators of our experience. Instead of allowing life to happen to us, how can we be co-creators within life? Because we have creation energy within us. Empowerment exercises could be setting boundaries, being able to say no. Just remember, whenever you are saying yes to someone else, you're saying no to yourself. I'm a recovering people pleaser, so if you're used to saying yes to people a lot, just practice saying no for a while. And if someone invites you to something or to do something, don't respond with a yes right away. Even if you feel pretty confident it's a yes, get into the practice of saying no and just thank them. Go, oh, thanks. I appreciate that invitation. I'm going to sit with that and I'll get back to you in 24 hours or in a week, depending on when they would need the answer. But give yourself that space and really sit and meditate on it and see how that feels for you. If you're noticing where you're having the challenges right now, where you're having any pain in your body, I just want you to do this practice with me right now. So wherever it might be that you feel any tension or pain in your body or discomfort, just put your hand on that area of your body. And you can do this at any time, but we're going to do it here together. So anywhere, if it's you feel like you have tension in your neck, you can just put your hand there. And then what I want you to do is take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. big belly breaths where you're stretching your belly out. Take a nice, long, slow inhale in, expanding your belly with air like a balloon, and then let it out. And imagine as you're breathing in deep that you're breathing into this space where your hand is, and that your hand is giving your body a hug. It's giving it some TLC, and just continue to breathe deep into that space. And if you're feeling an emotion or discomfort, notice if you feel an emotion of, I feel sad, you can check and say, where do I feel that emotion in my body? And then put your hand where you're feeling that, and then just breathing into it. So you can do this with painful sensation in your body or a painful emotion. And put your hand, where am I feeling this? And then breathe into it. And imagine as you keep on breathing, the deep breaths are like little love notes to your body. That fear, that emotion, or that pain is just bubbling up to the surface. And it's easing and it's getting easier with each deep breath you take. A lot of times we stay so constricted in how we breathe. So taking nice belly breaths is really great. It's also really great to take deep breaths because we're also stimulating our solar plexus more because we can be so constricted. Whenever I was a nurse and I would take care of little babies right after they had surgery, whenever we would count a respiratory rate on a baby, we would put our hands on their belly to count the respiratory rate. On an adult, we're counting the chest rising because we have learned through being around in society, when we were kids, we're very perceptive, and we're seeing our peers, we're seeing adults around us be so constricted and so uptight, right? They're so restricted, and then they're breathing more shallow just from the upper part of their body. But when we're born, we're meant to breathe more deeply, just like I was sharing yesterday on the emotional frequency scale. And I'll share about that here for those of you that didn't see this yesterday. This is the emotional frequency scale. Shame, when we're having shame about pleasure, whatever, that's the lowest vibration, 20 hertz. Love and loving ourselves is a high vibration, 500. If you want to attract money into your life, you need to be vibrating at least from like 250 to 280. These lower vibrations, they keep us contracted. See here it's saying contracted, and then up at the top, we're expanded. So that's what you want to do. You want to be expanded within your energy centers. Also, that impacts your energy, your emotions, because energy, emotions, the interchangeable words there. So when you breathe more deeply, you're being more expanded. And I want you to check in on yourself during the day and notice, like, even notice right now, notice that one place that we commonly hold a lot of tension in our bodies is in our jaw. So try to relax and drop the jaw. I'm going to take you on a quick relaxation breath practice. Put your feet on the floor and then put your hands in your lap and have them in the receptive mode with your palms facing up. I want you to take a long, slow, deep inhale through your nose, filling your belly with air like a balloon. Long, slow, deep exhale out through your mouth, gently relaxing your belly to your spine. Long, slow, deep inhale in through your nose. Long, slow, deep exhale out through the mouth. Again, long, slow, deep inhale through your nose, filling your belly with air. Long, slow, deep exhale out. And now just breathe at a rate that feels comfortable for you. The invitation here is for just each inhale and exhale to be longer, slower, and deeper. And if you're comfortable and if you're in a safe space where you can, close your eyes because where our attention goes, energy flows. So we want to bring your energy inward. So you just take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now we're going to add in some sound. Now, when you take a deep inhale in and then exhale with sound, make a sigh if you can, and just let it out. Do that 3 times. Deep breath in, stretching your belly out, and then exhale. Sound is like a thief and it steals the tension from your body. We can hold so much tension in our bodies, so being able to relax is key. Just relax, let that go. Now continue to just breathe and don't get too focused on my belly is going in or out. Just nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And I want you to start to relax your body from your head to your toes. So we'll start with your scalp. Just relax, let go of any tension in your scalp. You may feel some tingling sensation on your forehead. That's normal. If not, that's okay. Now relax your forehead. Let go of any tension you're holding in your forehead. Relax your eyebrows. Soften your eyes. Let go of any tension you're holding in your face. Just relax your face. Allow your jaw to drop, your lips to soften. Let your tongue relax in the bottom, the floor of your mouth. Now allow your shoulders to drop down. Now relax from your shoulders, down your arms, to your forearms, your hands all the way out to your fingertips. Now relax from your chest, down your torso, through your hips. Just keep with your nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now relax from your hips, down your legs and thighs, your lower legs, through your feet, all the way out to your toes. Your body should feel fully relaxed. Just notice if you notice any tingling sensation in your hands, that's just you connecting with your body energetically. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly blink your eyes open and return to the space around you. How did that feel for you? We hold so much tension. Oh, great question. Just keeping your head neutral. And the reason that you want to keep your head neutral is you're going to think where your chakras and your energy flows. You don't want to have a kink in the hose by you having your head too up or back. You want to keep it more straight. You can also lay down and do this as well. Just get really comfortable. You feel like more relaxed now? I feel like I don't want to move at all. And you don't have to. Just relax. Yes. The tingling in the hands is us connecting, and we stay so disconnected from our bodies. And our bodies hold so much wisdom for us. So just anytime during the day, you just take a pause, listen to a relaxing song, or just to nothing is actually really great. And just sit and just be. We're human beings, not human doings, but we've been so programmed to do go all the time. Often we don't trust ourselves. I'm going to share with you is to connect to what your body is trying to tell you as far as it's a yes or a no. Get your hands. I want you to make a okay symbol. We're going to test something out. You're going to get these fingers and see how there's a link and you can pull and hold it tight. This is called muscle testing. Even in some functional medicine practices, they actually do muscle testing to check in with your body to see how you're doing. This is a way you can always check in with yourself and start to calibrate what your yes and your no is. Now we're going to calibrate and think of a name that is so bizarre, like, you know, like my name is Jimbo, or a name that's completely not your name, and say to yourself, my name is, and say a name that's completely not your name, and notice what happens with your hand. Notice if it breaks open. Now we're going to do it and we're going to say what your name is. Now notice this. Say, my name is Dominique, and then it's going to be strong, right? And say what your name is and notice the strength there. So that's a yes for you. This is truth, right? This is a true or false. So my name is Bob. That's super weak because I know I'm not Bob. If there's a food that I'm curious or a supplement or something I'm not sure about, I'll ask my body and I'll check in. I don't have the thing sitting on my lap or I'm touching it. And I'll be, does this make me stronger? And have it tell me a yes or a no. A little bit woo, but it works for me. Spirit guides, higher self, angels, and I'll breathe in, help me to figure this out and you don't want to make a whole long question and make it really confusing. It has to be very simple. Does this make me stronger? Is this yes or no? Make the question simple like that. So that's also why I have a pendulum. If you get a pendulum, this is made with carnelian crystal, but I calibrate it. And for me, it could be different for you. I'll say, is my name Bob? And it completely is still. And if it stays still and pointing down and doesn't move, I know that's a no. Then I'll say, is my name Dominique? And it starts to go, and I'm not moving with my hand, and it starts to go clock. And I know that's a yes. So I'm checking in with this and checking in first with something I know is true or false to see how is it communicating. Because for some people, it might be that it stays still for a no, and then it just goes back and forth for a yes. So you want to check in. I feel like this is also connecting like within our energy and with our intuition, our guidance, and we can get so many mixed signals with the world out there. This will really help you tune in. We want to make a big decision for yourself, check in with yourself. You can use tools like this and just do muscle testing as well. There's also a sway test where you stand if you lean forward or back. So there's different muscle tests that you can do, but those are the two that I rely on the most. Whenever we're curious or we're wondering, what should I do? What should I do? And then we can have like analysis paralysis. We're overthinking it. We could just check in. This is what I'm saying. Your body has so much wisdom that our body holds. What is your main takeaway from today as we went into emotions and how these things can be keeping you stuck? Because if you're always stressed out, like attracts like. So the more you're stressed and you're worried and you're feared and you're thinking those things and being in those loops, you're attracting more of that to you. You're becoming a magnet for that. Not to scare you, but it's true. That's why this always happens to me. You're reaffirming that. So you don't give your power like that. And you can be relaxed, but you want to keep your chakras in alignment. So you want to keep your spine straight, but you can be more relaxed or lay down if you feel like, okay, I don't want to be holding my head up, not with a lot of pillows or anything. I want to stay flat and where your spine is neutral. So you don't have like where your head is tilted back and you're imagine a hose of water, right? Keeping the hose because you're making a bend in it. So that's the posture. Any questions from anyone as we're wrapping up for today? I hope this was helpful. We've been taught to have shame about our emotions or we repress or suppress our emotions. And the more we push these things away, the more stuck we're going to be because it's just not going to go away. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love too. I appreciate that. Tune in tomorrow because I'm going to go into Tantra practices to boost intimacy. We can have fear. We have these emotions. We can have had a past romantic relationship. And then we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be open because we're afraid of being hurt. So we're guarded and we're putting these walls up and guarding. We think it's protecting us, but it's actually keeping our blessings from reaching us. Be like, okay, I've faced challenging times before and I've survived those times. I'm still here. So I trust that I'm going to work through this as well and have resilience. The violet is in the higher chakras, but what you can do is bring that energy up through because that green chakra, when it's blocked, it's blocking the purples and the violet ones. So that could actually be your body or your wisdom trying to tell you, hey, I want to bust through this and get rid of this blockage. So I reach the colors of the purples that I'm wanting to. Someone said their main takeaway is to trust the messages from the body. Thank you for sharing that. You can reply to the emails that I sent out with the chakra quiz and the replay. And if you have a question about one of the chakras that's blocked, just send me an email about it and I can share some quick tips with you too. You're all welcome to do that. I look forward to seeing you and diving deeper into all this tomorrow. Blessings. Thank you so much for your time.